Customer asked the newly appointed bartender for a cup of coffee. While preparing the coffee, the young man saw that the behavior of coffee was different and feared that the coffee he prepared for the customer must have split. So he called his supervisor to discuss the issue and see if he could serve another cup of coffee for the customer. The supervisor, who happened to be a part time food science student, smiled and said that he could serve the same coffee to the customer. Intrigued by this, the new joiner asked his boss to explain and train him on the science of coffee. So, the problem setting here is coffee appeared like curd. Coffee is often subject of talk for two phenomena that are visible, one of which creates a positive impression on the consumer's mind called foaming, and the second one which creates a negative impression on consumer's mind called feathering. Let's analyze these two phenomena in depth. Coffee making is divided into four stages. In the first stage, coffee beans are roasted at very high temperatures, triggering flavor production through Maillard browning reactions. In addition to production of volatile flavor component, carbon dioxide is generated by Strecker degradation, which gets entrapped in the cells of coffee beans. In the second stage, roasted beans are grounded, during which various cellular components are released, like proteins, sugars, cell wall fragments. In the third stage, there is agitation followed by brewing, which facilitates the formation of foam. So, how exactly is foam formed in espresso? In the filter that's used for making coffee, if the coffee bed is properly packed, it allows slow movement of water through various particles, creating the pressure that's necessary for foam formation, along with carbon dioxide and carbonates present in water. The foam that's formed is called crema and is stabilized with the help of proteins and sugars present within coffee beans as well as milk proteins. The latter is true in case of cafe au lait, also called milk coffee. The crema formation is also referred to as tiger skin effect and is a desirable phenomena that consumers often associate with superior coffee quality. If you look at the microstructure of coffee foam with milk, you can see that you have an aqueous phase in which various components are dispersed uniformly. The air cells, they are usually stabilized with the help of proteins. Then you also have certain surfactants that are present at air water interface. You also have milk fat globules that are disposed in your aqueous phase. The second phenomena, which is called feathering, is often a negative phenomena that is not well perceived by consumers. It's observed particularly when we make coffee using coffee creamers. When cream is poured into hot coffee, which has high acidity, there's a change in the quality of aqueous phase resulting in flocculation of milk proteins, that is casein coated droplets. So this causes coffee to have an appearance similar to curd. Now, two casein coated droplets come together because their net particle attraction is high, and when they come together, they do not lose their integrity. As a result, you call it droplet flocculation and not coagulation. The turbidity increases with droplet concentration and also depends on the size of the droplet. Now, one important feature to remember here is it is more pronounced in plant based milk than in cow's milk. Let's see that with help of an example. The pH of soy milk is around 5.5, whereas that of coffee is around 5. So when you add coffee to soy milk, it has the potency to act as a coagulating agent. As soy milk proteins, they are said to be at their isoelectric point around this pH range. This leads to formation of a gel-like network which is visible as curd formation in coffee. So there are some strategies in place that help tackle the issue of feathering. First is to reduce the acidity of coffee. We know that proteins, they tend to come together near their isoelectric point. So if you're able to reduce the acidity of your coffee, then pH will not be reduced, meaning proteins will not reach their isoelectric point. Second, reduce the temperature before milk addition. Temperature and pH, they are two important parameters that control coagulum formation. So if you're able to reduce the temperature before milk is added, then also it helps in prevention of this feathering. Third is introduce coffee to warm milk little by little rather than introducing milk to coffee. Finally, you have addition of stabilizers. Thank you for staying with me through the video. In case you have any queries, please feel free to put them in the comment section and I'll get back at the earliest.